Boss Lady Conversations with Monica L.
and Coach Kaya.
Boss ladies are
Vulnerable,
authentic,
love,
hopeful,
abundant.
respected.
Boss ladies are
You.
Welcome back, boss ladies. I'm Monica L. I'm a boss educator, entrepreneur, self-published author, and poet. I believe all things are possible through synergy. My IG handle is at Monica L _poet. That's MONICAEL _poet.
Hey, boss ladies. I'm your girl, Coach Kaya. I'm a boss wife, mompreneur, sister, writer, and certified transformational coach. I help women reignite their dreams, access their power, and manifest the miracles that truly matter in real life. My IG handle is at I am Coach Kaya. That's KHAYA. And we are back with a very special episode of Boss Lady Conversations.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we want to take the time to say thank you to all of our friends who's also become our listeners and to our listeners who become our friends. We thank you for supporting our Boss Lady podcast. We appreciate your feedback that helps us grow. Please continue to spread the word. Remember, it's more than a show. It's a movement. And we are better together. And we love you for joining us.
Absolutely. So I just want to say that our show today is about how bossing up and embracing travel, real or imagined, can add depth to your story. So one of the quotes that I saw was, traveling is the healthiest addiction. And I thought that was so phenomenal because of everything that we've gone through. You know, some people have been traveling throughout the pandemic. Some people have stayed home. Some people always wanted to travel in life, but were always afraid to do it before this happened. You know, traveling can bring up so many parts of our story and who we are. Sometimes people don't travel because of their financial state. Like, there's so many barriers that have to do with your story and who you really are and who you want to become. So our intention for today's show is just to help you to understand that there are no limits on your life. There are only the limits that you place. And if you choose to travel in your mind after today, or if you choose to travel in real life, we want you to feel confident in doing so and know that it can really add depth to your story and those who you also are called to serve.
Yes, Coach Kaya, thank you for saying that. Traveling can be an addiction. I know some of us get the travel bug once a year. We won't say no names, or more often than not. Like you said, it's depend upon your finances. And travel sometimes can be a staycation. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to jump on someone's plane and go somewhere where you need a passport. Although I will say that my most memorable travel has been when I've traveled out the country. It really helped me to, again, appreciate what I have. And then it also helped me to learn more about me and myself. And by learning about others, seeing other cultures, seeing how they move, and not in a comparison type way, but seeing a different life. Because sometimes some of us never really travel outside of our neighborhood, to be honest. And so this is the only view that you have. But obviously with Google, you can travel anywhere. You know, you can be in that place. You can, with social media, you can interact with people in different countries and just really learn. So I like how you said finances does not have to limit you. And that's changing that mindset on how you do things and how creative you can be. There are positions that require you to travel. And so it's a lot of different things. So I love that. Thank you, Coach Kaya. I'm excited about today's show.
I'm excited too. And I'm glad that you brought up your travel story, because I remember traveling to Greece with People to People, shout out to People to People, as an 8th grader, and living there with a host family and traveling. And it changed my life. It opened my perspective at a very young age of, wow, the world is just not what's down the street and around the corner from me. The world is not just 3 towns over. The world is a playground, and I have a role in that. And I never forgot that. And I think it really has added depth to my story that's ever evolving as a person. And so I know that this is called Boss Lady Conversations, but we promised you from the very beginning that we would bring the roster of people that we felt could really bring life and meaning and add to everything that boss ladies need and want to explore, because we are trying our best to live our best lives each and every day. So, our guest is here to do just that. He is a graduate of Columbia College of Chicago, okay? And he has traveled to 25, do you hear me? 25 countries, including 42 of the 50 states, including Puerto Rico. He is a master traveler, master tour guide, and storyteller. He's honoring his mission to serve God, and he's changing lives one trip at a time. When he's not filming, meeting new people, teaching, inspiring, and really helping people tell their stories all over the world, he's spending time with those near and dear to his heart. And I would say he's the one person who probably hears this question so many times: where are you? Because nobody ever knows where he is, but we know he's somewhere living his best life, and we are always living vicariously through him. He is not just all of these accolades that we described. He is a brother. He is a brother who cares about the world. He is our friend. He is our confidant. And please join us, boss ladies, in welcoming master traveler and storyteller, Huey Scott.
Welcome,
Hey,
ladies.
Huey.
Thank you so much for having me. I am honored and blessed to be here in your presence and to be hearing your voices.
Oh, the pleasure is all ours, Huey. I mean, this is amazing. And thank you for making time for us and Boss Lady Conversations. Like, our listeners are going to be so enlightened, as well as I, about your story. I mean, truly, you have done some amazing things in your life, and you are just a light that shines. So, we're going to get right into it. Let's get
Right.
into the questions so our boss lady listeners can know your story. So, my first question to you is, describe your journey as a master traveler and master storyteller, and who do you feel most called to serve at this time in your life?
Wow. You ladies are deep. I love it. First question going in deep. All right. So that is a complex vitamin B compound question. So break this down for you in small categories. So master traveling. Okay. So a huge shout out to a really good friend of mine. Her name is Milan. She's a prophetess. And back in 2013, she came up to me and said, Huey, she says, God told me to tell you that you're going to be doing a lot of traveling. So here's a backpack for you. And she gave me this backpack. It's huge. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just open to receive it. And little did I know, what she said is the reality that I'm living right now. And I travel with this backpack everywhere I go. It's my number one backpack. I actually put a small backpack inside of that backpack. That's how big the backpack is. So with master traveling, when I think about master traveling, I think about what's happening in today's world with COVID. So it's a lot of organizing, it's a lot of research, it's a lot of research for the research, and a plan B, C, and D, because you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, everyone is handling this situation on their own basis. Every country is handling it in their own arms, so you don't know. So you have to figure out where you want to go, what is required. Once you figure that out, then you do your itinerary. But it depends on you as a person. For me, I think about where my soul is telling me where I want to go. From there, I look at the country, look at what's happening. Then from there, I do my bookings. I'll start with lodging first. Then I'll do the car. Once I get that wrapped up, then I think about my location. I think about where I want to go in the city. What do I want to experience? I write that down. I meditate on it. And then once I'm there, I leave room open for new ideas and opportunities when I'm there. Regarding storytelling, huge shout out to Coach Kaya because of her and because of her encouragement. She's the one who told me that, hey, you have a gift of storytelling. And I never knew that. I never knew that was even possible, because in my mind, storytelling is, writing a book, writing a play, writing the screenplay. And she was just like, no, you communicate very well. That's storytelling too. I'm like, oh, I just thought that was considered talking. So I had to dive deeper, like, well, what is considered master storytelling? And I was like, well, you're an actor, you are a communicator. So those are two indications on helping your skills as a storyteller. And then you think about the aesthetics, your camera angles, your location, the personality. And so it all comes together. And that's how I'm able to create a story. Quick note, I went to Paris recently and I wasn't the biggest fan of Europe. And I always told myself, if I go to Europe, France would be the last country I will go to. And it ended up being the first country that I go to be exposed to Europe. And so when I got there, I was like, how do I tell my viewers how to express this city when it's already been saturated? Everything has already been done. I'm not compelled. So how do I tell a story? And I said, well, what are the basics? What do you know? Well, France is a very romantic city. Okay. So I thought about a female. A song was like, oh, use this song. I'm like, where do I want to do it at? And so when I was able to step into my creativity, everything just kind of came. And that's a part of storytelling. And who am I most to serve? Man, anybody who has a heart to want to live, not travel, but to live their best lives. So I tell people, not only do I want to inspire and motivate, but I want to be able to showcase people to live full and die empty.
Woo! Gym on gym on gym on gym. Boss ladies, can you say that one more time for the boss ladies who just stood up from their seats?
Okay. I want to most serve people who want to live their fullest lives. So with that, I want to be able to inspire, to motivate, and showcase to people to live full now and die empty.
Thank you for that, brother, because I mean, you just dropped the mic. So that is what this show is all about. And for you to put it so eloquently just means the world to us because that's truly living. And I think now is the perfect time for people to reevaluate life, reevaluate their dreams, reevaluate why they're here and how they are called to serve. So you just did that and you really set the tone for us as we get ready to embrace another year. 2022 is like peeking in the window, knocking on the door. Like, I see you.
Yes.
Right. So, how do you see yourself as a master traveler in terms of like the depth that traveling has added to your personal story?
Wow, Coach Kaya, that's a great question. I was reflecting on that. And for me, as I've traveled, I've realized that when I travel, I don't see people like me as much. Not even though I like to see more people, even though I like diversity, but I just realized in the African American culture, we have a comfort zone. And I've realized that folks don't like to get out of their bubble. Folks don't like to get out of the state. Folks don't want to travel out of the country. And I'm just like, things are so much more than just going down 3 blocks, down the street. Like there's more to life than just the surrounding that you see 8 days a week. And so I didn't know what's the word I'm looking for. I didn't know when I come back home, they're like, "Oh, you inspire me." I'm like, "I did." Like, how? Because you're out in the world. And they were surrounded like, "Oh yeah, folks don't get out." And during these times, a lot of people are nervous, as they should. And I don't blame them. And it's just kind of like I can understand why folks don't want to travel. So I just feel like it's my mission. I feel like it's my assignment during this season to do it, to showcase. And I think people are curious because I'm a simple, normal guy. I have a job. And since I'm all over the place, people wonder like, what kind of job do you have? How do your job allow you to move the way you do? Are you getting paid to travel? How do you travel so much and you don't get paid? What's your job and how can I get it? I want to live that life. That's something that I always get. And so I didn't realize that sometimes it's kind of hard to see yourself as is. And it's like when you see other people telling you what you have, it makes you appreciate it just a little bit more. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is precious. So treat it with kindness, treat it with love, treat it with gentleness. Don't take it for granted. So I would say that's like the depth of, and the fact that COVID is here, it has taken me to a new level on how to live life and to travel because we're not promised.
Wow. I mean, I'm in awe. I'm just in awe. Such a pleasure to have you here, Huey. Just your story and your vibrations and your authenticity and vulnerability. We so appreciate it. And I know you have slightly answered this question, but I want to get a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
So, at what turning point in your life prompted you to embrace your life as a master traveler and a master storyteller? Because we know you're a vlogger. Like, what was that point when you say, this is me, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna show the world? What inspired you to do that? At what point?
Great question. This is one of my favorite questions because this is just a year old. So this is pretty fresh. So this is right on time. What did it was COVID. Prior to COVID, 2018 was like the year that I wanted to be a travel vlogger, but I was caught up in my head. I was caught up in my emotions on, I know this is what I feel like I'm meant to do, but I'm still scared. Will people watch? Will people listen? Will people follow? Will people prescribe? Where am I going to get the money? How am I going to try? I just had all these ideas. And so when I traveled to these different countries, I was still caught up in my head, not even sure. So it was just like a work in progress. And then 2020 came. I said, you know what, God? I said, I'm going to stop being scared. I'm going to stop being nervous. And I said, when 2020 comes, I said, I'm going to go full-fledged, no matter how I feel, no matter what happens. This is my word, not even knowing COVID was around the corner. And then, wham, I was like, well, I said, you made a promise. You made an oath. Do it. So when COVID came, the world shut down. My spirit was so aggravated. My spirit was so agitated. It's like for me, anytime when a new variant comes, my soul goes, yes, live your life full. And it ignites me. And so when that first variant came of COVID, I said, you know what? I rebooked my trip to Africa because I was supposed to go before COVID, and I'm kind of happy that I'm kind of happy that it did get canceled because if I did go before COVID, I wouldn't have had the experience that I had because I had rushed the trip all the days and I needed more time in these countries. And so from there, I was like, I'm going to get me a camera operator. I'm going to have a team in Africa. I'm going to have a drone. I'm going to sit down and plan out my storytelling. I'm going to do more research. I'm going to have a tour because typically I like to do everything alone. I made sure I had a tour guide who knew his history to show me around. And I was like, I'm going to do it up because I realized that there was only one area that we were seeing broadcasted was fear and COVID. And I'm like, well, we still got to wake up and live our lives. So I go, Huey, that's your assignment. I'm like, the media has said one thing, you go to these countries and you show the other side because there's always two sides to a story. And so that's what I wanted to bring. And that's how this, to your question, that was really my turning point. And my content has just increased and have gotten better. And all those things that I was struggling with prior to COVID, I have new problems now, but I don't struggle with that anymore.
Love, 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 love it. Thank you so much.
That's so powerful. Well, now we want to know if you can tell us one of your favorite travel stories. So the merging of the master storyteller and the master traveler. You hear me? I'm so excited because you know I love your stories and I love your travel stories.
I was thinking about this. I'm like, what story do I tell? And I'm gonna tell you, I just had on some meditation music. I closed my eyes and I said, which story? And you know which one it was? Bahamas. So here's the Bahamas. I had planned a trip to actually go on a cruise. It was my first cruise. And thanks to Coach Kaya, she gave me some great advice. I didn't know what to do, what to look for. So she gave me some good bullet points. And then I began to do some research and everything was planned out. But guess what? Everything that was planned did not go as planned. So if we had a plan B. So make a long story long, I was meeting a friend from Canada, flying down to Florida. I had a layover in Utah. As we were flying to Utah, there was a storm, so we got diverted to Louisiana. Got off the plane in Louisiana, and it was pandemonium chaos. It was so much chaos that the agents at the doors, they all left. So there was like no one to talk to. Now, keep in mind, I'm leaving to go on a cruise that same day, and all flights had got canceled. So I called my friend when she arrived to Florida. She was like, "I'm here." I said, "Well, I'm not going to be able to catch the plane, catch the boat. So since I paid for everything, you go and have fun." She said, "Huey, I'm not getting on this cruise without you." I was like, "Well, the situation is I'm stuck." And I don't know if I'm leaving. And I said, "I paid for this trip. You better get on that cruise." And she says, "No, I will sit here until you get here." So that was faith because she believed that I was going to get there, but she didn't see what I was seeing, which was everything was canceled. so so I was like, "Well, she's waiting on me, so let me figure this out." So I ran around the airport like it was Amazing Race. That's what I call that trip, Amazing Race. And the time was ticking because I had about 4.5 hours to catch that boat. So they called us. I heard an intercom and they said, "Anybody that's going to Utah, going back to Texas, we're flying back to Texas." So we got back on the plane. We flew to Texas, back to Texas, landed, flight was canceled again. So I'm running around, calling people. And then I saw a guy and something said, "Be nice to him." So I said, I called Expedia because that's who I booked the flight with. They was like, "There's nothing we can do. You can't get a refund." And I'm like, I'm screwed. And someone's like, "Just keep walking." And I saw a guy and I was like, "Hey, can you help me?" And he had like this very nasty look, like irritated. I don't want to be bothered. I said, "Listen," I said, "I'm supposed to be in the Bahamas for my birthday." And I called Expedia. They won't help me out. I said, "I have a friend from Canada who's waiting for me. She won't get on the boat without me. And I paid for the trip. So it's going to be a waste of money." And I was just like, I don't know what to do. And he says, "Give me your itinerary." He says, "Call Expedia." I called him. I had him on speaker. He told them what to do. They said no. He told me, "Hang up the phone." I hung up the phone. He says, "I'm going to take care of you." He went online, did some stuff, and he's like, "You flying out tomorrow morning." I called my friend and I said, "I got good news. I got bad news." I said, "The bad news is I won't be flying to Miami tonight." I said, "The good news is I'll be meeting you in the Bahamas." And so I said, "I get there at this certain time. So wait for me at the port at the entrance." And she said, "Okay." And I was kind of disturbed and sad because I had always wanted to be with dolphins and we booked this excursion. So I had to miss the excursion. So when I flew to the Bahamas, I get to the carousel and there's no luggage. My luggage was left back in Texas. But thankfully, the Holy Spirit had told me back in LA to dig into your backpack, grab all your underclothes, and keep your garment bag with you. I don't know why I heard this voice, but guess what? I always had something dressed. I always had something nice to dress at night. I always had fresh underclothes. And since we were always at the beach, I had on swim attire. So it actually kind of worked out.
Love it. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, you made it to her and just the dedication in the Bahamas, that's a beautiful place. So beautiful. So a part of our Boss Lady conversations is we love to give our ladies tips. So I like to ask you, what are 3 tips you would like to share with our boss ladies who want to get back into utilizing travel as a way of adding depth to their story?
Great question. I'll talk about the 3. I'll give the 3 pointers and then I'll explain. Tip number 1, manifest your travels with a calendar and colors. Or I should say, manifest your travels with colors and your calendar. 2, be available to listen to your spirit for divine ideas. Number 3, be open to meet new people who are different than you. Now, what is manifesting colors and calendar? Coach Kaya knows about this. When I travel, when I want to go somewhere, the first thing I do is I love to color my calendar. So I'll look at a month and I'll say, what date? How long do you need to be there? And I just allow my spirit to tell me what it needs. Then, on your calendar, especially on an Android phone, you have those different colors. And so I always like to figure out what color blends in with that country. And that's the color that I'll use. I color coordinate everything. And then once I got the trip in my calendar, to me, it's believable because now I have something to see. So now it's time to book. So then I go and I book the trip with travel first and then lodging. And then I go to what experiences do I want to do? And then I think about my story and my content. And then that's step number one. Be available to listen to your spirit. I kind of cover that for new ideas. So I really try to tune in because there's 196 countries in the world. And how do I choose? I try to whatever is speaking to my heart, that's where I need to go. Because I can go to Argentina, I can go to Belize, but right now, those countries are not speaking to me. And if it's not speaking to me, that means that it's not time to go just yet. So be cognizant and aware of listening to your spirit on where you need to go and to be open with new ideas. Meet new people. It just enriches your spirit. It enriches your tenacity. It enriches your experience in life to be out of your comfort zone, to get out of your shell. Now, I'm not talking about like meet new people as if you don't know anything about murders, but just like we all are humans. We all are humans. We all have a story and we all want experiences. And so when I travel, people always ask me, like, do you get afraid to travel as a solo traveler? I'm like, no. To me, it's the best as I get to meet new people from all over the world, have them as my contacts. And if something is going on, I can just send them a quick text to be like, hey, is this really true? So for me, those are the 3 tips that I can tell the boss ladies to really consider.
Huey, you just dropping so many gems, and I love that you said that. So it's not about not thinking about safety. It's a matter of you're tuning into your intuition. You're being divinely guided as you go out into the world. You also mentioned being open to meeting new people outside of your comfort zone, and that's something that we talk about on this show all the time. We even were talking about a quote previously that said, "Nothing good
Mm,
in your comfort zone," right? So like there's
mm.
this other place that we're always needing to go. We're being challenged forward. And that is your spirit and that is your story. And you just inspired us so much. So I was wondering if you could offer us and the boss ladies listening some story prompts that we can use to kind of help us identify our dream travel locations.
Well, this kind of blends and bleeds into the previous question, but I'm going to take it a step deeper is to dig deep into your soul, dig deep into your soul to exercise that. When I travel, the manifestation on where I need to go comes in many different forms. If it doesn't hit me in my spirit, I'll look at the globe, either tangibly or on my phone, and I'll just rotate it, look at all the countries and see what really hits me. And then I'll put a star by it. Then I'll research like what are the attractions in that country. Thanks to social media is a really big help. I follow certain people and I'm seeing different parts of the world. I'm like, ooh, that experience really hit me. Let me take note of that. Also, signs. Signs would tell you where you need to go. If I hear a country like 4 or 5, 6 times, I'm like, let me take a note of that. That's from that. It's been repetitive, and when things repeat to me over and over like that, I have to take note. It's like a sweet and sour situation. When I realized that we have all these restrictions now, prior to COVID, I was like, here's an opportunity to travel and to really move forward. But somehow COVID really ignited me to really live life to the fullest. And not only that, but to really exercise my right as a free man to really travel the world and to really take ownership and not take it for granted.
That's amazing, Huey. Again, the way you are speaking to, it's soul speaking to soul. So I love that. And like you say, just really listening to the signs and seeing the signs. A lot of times we're rushing so much, we don't see what's right in front of us. So I thank you for that. And this has been an amazing show. So you have to tell our listeners how they can contact you, view your content. Please share your social media. so we can have more followers that can enjoy your experience as we experience life?
Oh, that is so awesome. I think that the best way and the most content I put up is on Instagram, and that's Huey underscore Scott. So that's Huey underscore SCOTT underscore. That's my handle on Instagram. I put up not only still photography, but also stories and my storyline on Instagram. And every Monday, I do this motivational Mondays. It's called Moving Mountains on Monday. So always tune in, tap on my storyline. I'll always have a positive motivational quote for you for that day. That's on Mondays, but it's for the week.
Yes. I love that, Huey. That's so powerful. I think that when you were talking and giving us the prompts, okay, Monica L., what country were you traveling to when Huey was given the prompt? Because I saw a country. I want to know if we've got the same country.
Oh my God. Thank you for that. I want to check out Belize. Actually, I've never been there. Definitely a lot of good friends are from Belize. Oh, and yeah, why not? But I mean, Huey just has me thinking about a lot of different countries. I think when you said 196, I said, oh, I need to go get the globe. I did not. I need to explore beyond what's really known. So thank you. Which country did you think of, Coach Kaya?
I thought of Thailand and Indonesia.
Mm.
And that's probably based on some of Huey's recommendations because I was sold. He went to Thailand and he had a drink and I was drinking it with him every day. Like I'm still drinking that drink that he was drinking. And I'm like, the coconut, what is it? What is it? I need it. Like I could taste it the way that he was drinking it because he knows how to tell a story that great and make it so real in your life that you literally never forget it. So Huey, you got to take us with you on some trips like in 2022. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We need to get together and travel with the master storyteller and master traveler.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
You know what? I'm so down with that. I'm honored to do that with you ladies. And that's what the Live, Love, Travel, the handle, if you go on my page, is not only Huey Scott, but it's the Live, Love, Travel Experience, which stands for, there's an acronym for Live, Love, Travel, and that is live your life, love always, travel as often as you can so you can experience the encounters that are waiting for you.
Woo! And there it is. Boss ladies. I know the boss ladies are already packing right now. They're packing.
Right.
They're doing their visualizations. And so that's our show for today. But we want to offer you a recap from the master traveler and the master storyteller himself, Huey Scott. Number 1, manifest your travel with a calendar and colors. 2, be open to meeting new people who are different from you. 3, open your spirit to new ideas and experiences. 4, have people in your life that help you honor and recognize your gifts. 5, when deciding where you want to go, get into your zone and think about how you want to feel when you get there. What areas are speaking to your heart and calling you forward? Number 6, follow your intuition. Even when things appear to be going wrong, it can always work out. And number 7, keep your promises that you make to yourself. Understand your assignment. We appreciate you. That's our show for today. And we appreciate you, Boss Lady listeners.
Thank you, Boss Ladies.
If you haven't already done so, please follow us on Spotify and iHeartRadio.
And you'll be notified whenever we post a new Boss Lady Conversation episode.
You are who you say you are.
You're destined for great things. Your life matters each and every day.
Now go get your blessings, Boss Ladies.